Hi friends, Nancy Novak here. How are you all doing through this crazy times we're living in? I hope you're doing well. Thought I would drop in here and show you a card that I just made today. Actually, a friend, Linda, thank you, asked if I would do a certain card technique. And so I said, sure, let me get working on it, and I'll do a live video later on today. So here I am. So I'm going to show you a 3-layer card, and when I looked back, I haven't made this card since 2016. So again, thanks Linda, because it's a great card to make. It's so easy, and let me show it to you. So this is the card that I designed using the 3-layer technique. What I like about this is if you don't have designer series paper, all this is stamp and ink, so it's quite easy. So you need your white paper and maybe a cardstock to break up the layers, and your ink and your stamp set, whatever it is. So it's quite easy. So this is the stamp set called Inspiring Iris. And I actually just got this week, and it is from the annual catalog on page 111, right there at the bottom, right here. And I like this kind of stamp set. It's a 2-step stamp, so that means you can stamp the outline, and then it has a second stamp to do the stamping on the inside. And of course, I just love purple, so I had to do mine in purple. And let's get to it real quick. First of all, let me turn on my comments, see who's here. If you're watching live, go ahead and say hi. And if you're watching on replay, type in replay. So what you're going to need are the color of cardstock that you want to use. So I'm using Highland Heather. And this is going to be my card base, and it's 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Then I have another cardstock, and this is 4 3/8 by 3 1/8. Then I have another piece of cardstock, and that is 3 3/8 by 2 1/8. Then I have my stamping pieces, and this is 5 1/4 by 4, and this is 4 1/4 by 3, and this little one is 3 1/4 by 2. So I made my mat pieces be just 1/8 larger than my stamping pieces. You can have it be a little bit larger. Normally I do my mats 1/4 of an inch, but with this technique I like the very thin mat, because I think it shows off the flower design and it just breaks it up, just a tiny bit. That's all you need. So again, I will post this information on my blog probably later on today, so it'll all be written. So if I made a mistake or you didn't catch it, don't worry about it. I also have one other piece for the inside, and this is my stamping piece, and it's 5 inches by 3 3/4. Okie doke. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a little magazine or some cushion to stamp on, and a scrap piece of paper, because I'm using polymer stamps and they don't have cushion, so I like to stamp on a magazine. So I'm going to take my 3 stamping pieces, and I'm just going to put a little bit of snail on the back to hold it in place, and I'm going to layer these. I'm going to center each one inside of the other one. Hi, Kay. So usually on my software here, I can't see who's commenting. I can see the commenting, but I can't see who it is. So you can always say, hi, this is so-and-so. And until later when I go back, then I can see all the comments and who wrote them. But for some reason, my software doesn't show it when I'm on live. So kind of funky, but that's the way it is. So I'm going to turn it like this. This is the way I'm stamping. And I'm going to start with the outline stamp. and I'm going to use Memento ink, and I'm just going to stamp it. I want to be able to type my sentiment right there, and I have a little glare here from my lights, so I can't see that well. I'm going to stamp one in the middle, and one on each side. So you can stagger them a little bit. I was just careful not to overlap them too much. Okay, then since I have my Memento ink out, I'm going to go ahead and stamp the word thanks. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in the stamps that fill in, and I'm using Gorgeous Grape for the petals. So this stamp, just have to figure it out, excuse me, which way it goes. It goes vertically, and then you line it up the best you can on top of your outline. And a tip is, you don't have to outline. You can just use these filler stamps on your card, and it really gives you a pretty kind of soft faux look. So you don't necessarily have to outline it. So you can try it that way also. So I'm just looking through this stamp, and I'm lining it up the best I can. And of course I am off angle. Not bad. So do the center one. And what's nice about this also is it doesn't have to be perfectly lined up, and it still looks really cool, kind of artistic. Now I'm going to bring in the stems, and I'm going to do the stems in stems and leaves in Old Olive. This one's a little bit harder to line up. I'm looking at this piece right here, and there's that little ball of the stem, the thicker part. So I'm kind of looking at that first and just lining it up the best I can. And again, it looks really cool even if it's not exact. At least I think it does. Okay, so we'll come back and stamp our inside in a little bit. So let me just cover up my ink pads right now so I don't make a mess. So now we're going to put this together. So I'm going to bring in my matte pieces, and I'm going to use glue. You can use snail or glue. So I'm just taking it apart. That's why you just need a little bit of snail. You don't want it sticking too much. This one really stuck, but luckily it's going to be covered up. You know, that was brand new snail. That's why it stuck so well. It's okay. It's not going to show. Okay, so I'm going to layer this piece on my small mat. And again, it's just got a teeny tiny little bit of a edge showing through. I like the Gorgeous Grape with the Highland Heather. I tried it with Highland Heather petals, and I didn't think it was enough of a contrast. So I just used that darker Gorgeous Grape. And this one I'm going to put on the card base. See, I have some ink on my fingers. Got to be careful here. So now we're just going to take this piece and put some glue on the back. You can pop this up, but with this technique, I like to keep the design close to the next layer, so I don't like to pop it up. But you certainly could. So now we're just going to line this up with the previous stamp that we just did. So I'm looking at the leaves down below, and I'm looking at the petals right and left. It's coming together. Oops. Same thing, just line it up. Make sure it's straight. Pretty, huh? I love it. I love it, I love it a lot. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in my inside stamping piece, and I'm bringing in the sentiment. It said, "You are somebody who makes everybody feel like somebody." So I am actually going to send this to my mom's new caretaker. I moved my mom about a week and 3 days, to a new facility. My mom's 96, and it's a woman's house with 6 people, 6 patients, 6 residents. And this person who takes care of everyone, and she has some help, is amazing. So I just thought that this would be a nice card for her. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in that leaf stamp and the petal stamp, and do a little bit of stamping on the inside. So this is what I'm telling you, what I was mentioning about not using that black outline. This is what it's going to look like. So I'm inking it up with the leaves in the old olive. I'm going to stamp off. I'm going to stamp down here at the bottom, kind of off center, going off the paper a little bit. Then I'm going to bring in the petal stamp. I noticed I had some extra ink on there. I was trying to wipe it off. So I'm bring in the gorgeous grape again. Ink it up. I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to stamp it right here. So it's very subtle. Isn't that pretty? I like it without the black outline also. It's really, really cool looking. What's the artistic word for that? Impressionistic, maybe? Something like that? My husband would know. Okay, so we're going to put this on the inside of our card. So I do have to say I'm very, very happy that I know how to stamp cards, because it's keeping me busy, keeping my mind busy, and I love the idea of sending out cards now is especially important, I think, to bring a smile to somebody's face. So let's see what we got here. So you like that technique? I can't believe that I have not done that for, 4 years? Long time. So thanks, Linda. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, obviously let me know. I will be here to answer them. I'll put the information on my blog tomorrow, or this afternoon probably, because I have lots of time. I can do it today. If you guys have any special stamps that you would like to see a card made from, or techniques, drop me a line, leave me a comment, because I love to inspire you with something, and I can use the ideas, so I would appreciate that. So until next time, thanks for watching. Please take care, practice social distancing and all that stuff, and don't be shy. Stamp and shout.